if I'm wrong, but.
Oh, I will. And Quincy gets on the phone and says, Sid, this is the best song I've heard in 10 years. And that's the first time I've ever said that.
Wow.
And when I sang, Through the Fire, Cynthia was like, what? Madonna goes, hey, Siedah, how are you? I said, I'm great. She said, what have you been doing? And I said, waiting for somebody to fuck up so I can take their place on your tour. And then like a few months later, I guess somebody fucked up.
We sound crazy.
Looking for the right thing. Oh, baby. Don't look any further.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, it's feeling legendary.
It's feeling legendary. It's feeling legendary.
Legendary. Welcome to another week of We Sound Crazy. Your boy Billionaire, a.k.a. Mr. Bowderway, is in the building.
Claude Kelly is definitely in the building.
Hey, Chuck Harmony is in the building.
Bacon from Macon is in the building. I'm so glad I'm in the building.
You glad to be in the building? All right,
you glad to be in the number?
Glad to be seen and not viewed.
It's legendary because we have a legend amongst us.
Yes,
now
we
we're gonna
do.
let's get all the titles, the CVS receipts of hats.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're talking about a legendary songwriter, a legendary artist, a legendary producer, Grammy winner. I mean, literally has shaped the sound of music for the last, I don't know how many years. If you don't know her music, you've been under a rock.
You're slipping.
Without further ado, we have songwriting. We have music royalty in the building.
Yeah, man.
The Siedah Garrett is here at We Sound Crazy.
Thank you.
So happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, man.
Now, the first thing I gotta say is that this is also your first time to Nashville.
Yeah.
Wow.
It took me 30 years to get to Nashville. I mean, I heard about this songwriting town, this town that's loving songwriters and supportive of everything songwriters do and try to do. And it's always been a thought in my mind. I'm a songwriter. I need to go to Nashville just to see what it's like to be treated like royalty as a songwriter. It is amazing in this town.
You feel the love?
I do.
Yeah.
And even ordinary people at the grocery store, people at the coffee shop, everyone is so warm.
Yeah.
I live in LA. It ain't like that in LA.
The weather's warm.
Yeah, that's right. But the people aren't.
Not so
no,
much.
not so
Yeah.
warm. It's been. I've only been here for less than 48 hours, but it's just been great. Nothing negative has happened to me. I haven't lost anything, which I usually do on trips. So I'm really, really pleased.
Well, I was saying before, we're happy to have you, and also I think that Nashville could use a lot more of your presence in terms of just songwriting leadership.
Yeah.
We also talk about how there's a lack of leadership for women who do all that you do, especially Black women. So you coming here and just...
You know somebody? Do you know?
We know.
Y'all know somebody?
Between the four of us, we know some people.
Yeah, we definitely know.
We know some people.
We know somebody.
So get comfortable.
Okay,
But
you got it.
We're honored that you, on your first trip to Nashville, you decided to stop by We Sound
Yes,
Crazy.
because y'all do.
I mean,
We sound crazy.
Crazy as hell.
crazy as hell.
I'm ready to be in there.
Well, let's start with that first song that we opened up with
Yeah.
because that is a banger.
Yes.
Go ahead, Timon.
No, that song is literally etched into like the fabric of everything. Like if you've never heard that song or a derivative of that song,
Right.
Oh, yeah,
or a
yeah.
sample interpolation of that record, then you have been asleep for the last 30 plus years.
Yes.
Couple questions from my end. What do you remember about just that song coming together and then the video as iconic as it is?
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
like that was around the time when videos were just becoming a thing. And just, it's so simple, but you could tell that y'all were having, or at least I hope y'all were having a good time.
This chemistry.
Whatever is going on,
yeah.
I need a bottle of that. So, yeah.
That record, I was the demo singer when I auditioned for Quincy Jones to be in this group that he was putting together. And because lots of LA producers and songwriters knew that Quincy was producing and making Patty Austin's album, a lot of songwriters were submitting songs for Patty Austin. And because they saw me at these Quincy Jones auditions, I started singing a lot of demos.
Okay.
Because the writers knew that Quincy would hear their song if I sang it.
sang
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So I got a call from Dennis Lambert and Franny Goldie, who wrote the song. And the song was, I sang the demo, and it was supposed to be a duet between Dennis Edwards and Shaka Khan. So I did the whole demo, and then Dennis Edwards came in and put his part on it. And then Motown was waiting for Shaka to put her part on it, but no one could reach Shaka or figure out when they could get her in the studio. And Motown was like, we gotta put this out. Who's singing on the demo? I don't know, some girl named Siedah Garrett. Fine, put her on it.
Wow.
And I was so excited because I was like, yes, I get to go back and sing my vocal. I get to read. And Dennis Lambert, the producer, was like, oh no, we're not touching that vocal.
Sometimes that's
So the vocal that you hear on this record is my demo vocal.
Wow.
that's crazy because people don't realize sometimes that the first take is the magic take.
Yeah.
Man, yeah.
Yeah.
First take is the magic.
Because you think,
sometimes.
oh, I got more. I'll do another take or two, so I can do whatever I want. I'm just warming up.
Right.
So it was good, and I think he made a good decision. I could have gone in and redone my vocal, but he said it wasn't necessary. That's the first time that's ever happened to me.
Wow.
But I have something to say about songwriters who say things like, "Don't worry, it's just a demo." I hate that.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
Because if I thought about that, if I thought like that my version of that song wouldn't be as it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you half-assed it, then
Man, somebody else would have replaced me, I'm sure. They would have found Shaka. They would have waited for Shaka.
that's good advice though.
Yeah.
So give it your all the first round.
Yes.
Yeah, you never and plenty of songs have started as demos and became the official. That's the famous story with Celine Dion with My Heart Will Go On. That was a demo, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll just keep that because
Sometimes it's magical.
Yeah.
Sometimes it
it's
works.
magical."
As a singer, is it more difficult to sing other people's songs as opposed to the songs that you write?
What a great question. I think the songs that I write are easy for me to sing because I wrote them.
Yeah.
But so I would say, other people's songs are a little more difficult because I would want to sing them like they sound, you know. As a songwriter, and when I write songs for people, I study the person, I study the vocals, I study the tone, and I try to write in that style, in that vein of that person. So it would be a different mindset than the song that I wrote. I would just be me.
Yeah.
But if I'm writing for another artist, I would try to sound like or do what they would do.
Right.
For example, another producer, songwriter that was at those auditions were Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil, very famous songwriter.
Yes.
Cynthia, bless her heart, has passed. But they hired me to do a demo for a song for Shaka Khan. And they didn't know this, but Shaka Khan is the reason I sing. Shaka was everything to me. All her licks, all her runs, her style, her energy. I just loved her so much. So I would try and sing. I studied all her songs, and I was in a band. We played all Rufus. So I know Shaka like to my core. So I'm singing. I was hired to sing this song for Barry and Cynthia for Shaka, and it was a little song called "Through the Fire."
Wait, hold on. Wait. A little song.
Called "Through the Fire." I sang the demo, and when I sang "Through the Fire," Cynthia was like, "What?" She said, "Don't do the hard R like that. Don't do that." I said, "Let me tell you something. You don't understand. That is what Shaka would do."
Absolutely.
So I said, "Cynthia, trust me. I know this woman. I know her music. I know what she would do. I wish I could play you the demo for Through the Fire." Because it sounds just like Shaka.
I believe it.
Yeah. So I asked Cynthia Weil a few years after that if I could have a copy of, but she said I searched and searched, I couldn't find it. But I was just pleased that she allowed me to go with my feeling because that's exactly that is Shaka. You know,
It sold Shaka because she sang it.
yeah, well, yeah.
You demoed Through the Fire?
Yes.
That's crazy.
I was
did.
today years old when I found out that tidbit of information.
But now that you know that, it makes so much sense.
It does make a
It
lot of
makes
sense.
so much sense. Wow.
We sound crazy.
Never give up on your hopes and your dreams. You gotta get up, get out, get into it.
Get it on. Listen,
So I heard that started off as an instrumental song. Is that true?
Brothers John.
I don't know. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It was a Brothers Johnson instrumental for years, and then Quincy decided he wanted to put a lyric to it, so I did that. Yeah.
and what a lyric.
Thank
What a
you.
lyric.
Thank you. Little Tevin Campbell, my God.
What do you remember about young Tevin?
That he was incredible. Like the riffs and the control that he had, his pure tone.
At 9.
At
Yeah.
9.
No cigarettes, no huskiness, no. So it was just pure and beautiful. Wow, what a great voice he has.
We had him on the show, and he talked about how much he learned from those early experiences being around the sessions and Quincy and
Yeah.
everyone. What there's a lot happening in the Quincy world. I mean, always, but at that time specifically. What are some of your memories from just being around it's really the magic, right? Like the studio sessions, the writing, the recording, like I'm sure it formulated a lot of who you became afterwards, but what do you remember the most about that time?
I just remember being in total awe of the musicianship and of the sound quality of the music, of the vocals. I got to hang out with people whose names I was reading on liner notes for years, you know. It was the whole experience with recording, especially the Back on the Block album with Quincy, was just surreal. You never knew who was going to be in the studio that day. You never knew who was going to show up. You never knew what song you were going to record. I wrote I think 8 songs, co-wrote 8 songs on that record. So we were in the studio a lot, and it was just the most fun.
Masterful.
Quincy's fun, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quincy, see, he'd be when I see documentaries, he's taking it seriously, but he also he's a good time.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. It's
Yeah.
always fun. And he's serious about it. And every musician, every composer, every writer, everyone associated with every project that he does, they come to him with their best. Because it's Quincy freaking Jones.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You want to do your best. So
Yeah.
everybody's there is on their best behavior as far as musicianship, trying to make this project the best that it could be. Everybody whose job it was, from the engineer to the guy that set up the drums to everything had to be perfect. The tonality of the record was just amazing. Bruce Swedien, rest in peace,
Yes.
was an amazing sound engineer.
Yes.
Just off the charts. So and I recorded an album years later with Bruce just before he passed. But I just love listening to him and his stories. He has Nat King Cole stories and just stories beyond. It's just listening to him and Quincy go on and on about the years
Because
that
everybody
they've had.
really did come to the studio.
Right.
Yeah.
Man,
Everybody
yes,
in the
yes.
studio.
Celine Dion, Barbra Streisand. I mean, Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson. It was just
That's crazy.
it was just a lot. It was a lot.
I want to know, just in all of the work that you've done with Quincy, what is one thing that you've been able to kind of take from those experiences and just it's applicable to every facet of what you've been able to do before, after, all that?
I think the greatest lesson that Quincy taught me, especially as a songwriter, because the deal that I had with Quincy Jones was both an artist deal for a group that I auditioned for, and a writing deal,
Okay.
and they were both in tandem. But I knew I wanted to be an artist, but I hadn't written shit. I wrote poems, you know?
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? I don't want the writing thing. I just want to do the artist thing. And the boys, there were 3 guys in this group called Deco. The boys were like, fine. So they had a meeting with Quincy. I don't know why I wasn't there. I'm still trying to figure that out to this day. But they had a meeting with Quincy, and they put our contracts in front of him on his desk. And he sort of just moved through the papers, and he said, where's Siedah's contract? They said, oh, she doesn't want the publishing part. She just wants the artist part. Quincy said, you either all sign or nobody signs. Next thing I know, Siedah. bitch, you better sign this contract. you know? So when 4 black men tell you to sign, you tend to sign, you know. So I realized that what I needed to do, since I was this demo singer for every producer in town at the time, I learned so much about song structure and song formula. Some songs start with a chorus, some songs start with an intro, some songs have a bridge. All these things I needed to learn in order to write a song. So I made it my business. Once I was forced to sign this contract, I had to figure out a way to make sure that I was not in breach of my, say it was 12 songs a year, I was not in breach of my publishing contract for not fulfilling my contractual obligation. So I wanted to write as many songs as I could because Quincy only counted a song that he owned 100% of. I, as a co-writer, could never write more than 50% of a song. And don't let 3 people be in the room.
Right.
You know, so if they had to write 12, I had to write 24. So I was really busy trying to learn the skill of songwriting.
Wow.
And that's what I did.
From the best school ever.
I was, after a year, I was re-signed and the boys were dropped.
Wow.
Because we got checks for the publishing deal. They cashed their checks. I learned to write songs.
Wow.
So they got fired, and I stayed with Quincy for like 7 years.
That's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen.
That's how I did it, anyway.
There's a song you did with Quincy and El DeBarge in like 98, 99 called I'm Yours. That is just, I'm a ballad junkie. So like that record right there, I still play it to this day and I'm like, man, if we could just go back.
I mean, you're talking about Tomorrow, what you play. You're talking about Secret Garden.
Wow. Did you know that Stevie Wonder was supposed to be on that record?
On Secret Garden?
Wow. Not James Ingram. It's supposed to be Stevie Wonder.
How did that casting switch?
Quincy could not get Stevie in the studio. He waited to the last. He was just trying to get Stevie in the studio. And when he realized he was on his last few days in studio for this record, he just called James Ingram in, and James like tore it up. Yeah.
What? That would have been crazy too.
Again,
Stevie
today years old.
Today years old is so much.
We sound crazy.
If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change.
Na 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 na.
Hello.
You know what? I wanted to put words to that na 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 na. I said, Quincy, I'm not really finished yet with I'm gonna put some words to na na na. He said, no, Sid, leave it like that.
You called you Sid?
Yeah, Sid. And oh my God, that nickname, I hated it because it sounds like an old Jewish man. Sid. So I got that name because, God rest his soul, Rod Temperton, who's a Brit. Most British people, if your name or any word ends in A, they pronounce it like it ends in R.
Yeah, Siedah.
I was Siedah. And I was like, Rod, no.
Siedah.
I said, call me something. That's not my name. He said, okay, how about Sid? Sid? No. It sounds like an old Jewish man. I don't want that name. And so he said, Rod Temperton, bless his heart, he always had a cigarette in his mouth. So he went, all right, Sid it is. And it's been Sid ever since.
We're talking about the Rod Temperton, by the way.
Wow.
Do your Googles if you don't know Rod Temperton, because he's also a giant.
He's the bomb. Legendary. He was the bomb.
Legendary. But
we got to go back to Man in the Mirror.
Man in the Mirror.
We can't just
No. Man in the Mirror. It's one of my favorite songs of all time.
Yeah.
Me too. And Michael too. Michael said John Lennon's Imagine and Man in the Mirror were his 2 favorite songs.
And I can see why, simply because it's so hard to make a great inspirational song. Like usually inspirational songs just be cheesy.
Yeah, they come off hokey.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that was pop perfection.
Absolutely.
And every word
Thank
counted in that
Thank
song.
you.
Yeah, man.
And that was, correct me if I'm wrong, but
Oh, I will.
he didn't write on that record, did he?
No.
And he was known for not recording songs that he didn't.
But let me please let me tell that story.
Please do.
Okay.
Wow.
Please do.
Okay.
Okay. I was a songwriter on Quincy Jones, as I mentioned, for 2.5 years of my 5-year contract. And 2.5 years in, Quincy called a group meeting with his West Coast songwriters. I think there was like 6 or 8 of us at the time. And he had a meeting at his house, and everybody was in the middle of the meeting. I was late. So I walked in and I tried to like just slink, against the wall, find a seat. And Quincy was in the middle of a sentence and he was saying, I was watching him track me as I tried to get across the room to have a seat. He said, now that we're all here. So I sat in the corner and I, took some copious notes about what he thought he wanted for this next, this next song that he was working on with Michael. And he said, I said, well, what do you want? He said, I up-tempo, mid-tempo, I just want to hit shit. And that's the notes that I had. So I thought of all the demos that I sang, whose demos did I enjoy singing the most? And it was Glenn Ballard and Cliff Magnus. So I asked both of them if they would like to write with me for Michael's record. And I wrote a song with each of them. But the song I wrote with Glenn, I remember sitting down and telling him about this meeting, and he said, yeah, sure, let's see what we can come up with. I'm in his office in Encino. Before that afternoon, 2 years prior, I was at a recording session with a famous jazz piano player named John Beasley. Now, I'd known John for a few years because he used to be the MD for Sergio Mendes. And when I auditioned for Sergio Mendes, which I heard he was on the radio, and the DJ said, if you want to talk to Sergio Mendes, call. I called. I dialed 1580 KD.
Rotary phone.
I dialed the number time and time again until I heard it ring. Every time I dialed, it was busy. And then I heard it ring. I was like, so it rang for like 20 times, but I stayed on the phone. The DJ picked up the phone and said, hey, 1580 KD, how can I help you? I said, I don't even know where this came from. I said, is Sergio looking for any singers?
Did you sit on the air?
Yeah. And he said, I don't know. Why don't you ask him? He put Sergio Mendes on the phone. He asked me, did I have any music? And I had one record out, and it came out one summer for like 20 minutes. So I took this record to his home. He put it on the turntable, dropped it, picked it up, dropped it, picked it up, dropped it. And he said, okay. His wife gave me a cassette. On that cassette were 3 songs I had to learn in 5 days in Portuguese. That's right. So I learned those songs and I auditioned for Quincy Jones, for Sergio Mendes, and that's how I met John Beasley.
Yeah, John Beasley, sorry.
So I was at John's house years later writing a song, and I thought we were doing pretty well until the phone rang. And John picked up the phone and began this very banal conversation. And I had my lyric book in my hand. I'm flipping through my lyric book, and I hear him say, hello? Oh, no, I'm not doing nothing. What? And I'm thinking, did he just say he wasn't doing nothing? What? So I'm flipping through my book, just seething, flipping through my book. And I heard him say, the man? What man? Oh, the man in the mirror. I wrote Man in the Mirror in my book.
Sounds good, right? It's a nice line.
Yeah, I like that. Went to Glenn's house 2 years later, and I'm sitting on the floor.
2 years later.
2 years later, sitting on the floor in front of his couch. He gets up, he walks around to his desk where he had a keyboard. He said, let me just get some sounds. He turned on the keyboard, and Glenn starts playing. While he was doing that, I'm flipping through this book, and I kid you not, I get goosebumps every time I tell this story.
Yeah.
The words "man in the mirror" virtually popped off the page at me. And I remember going, wait a minute, wait. I couldn't get the words out fast enough. I was the lyric, the verse and chorus to that song, after 10 or 12 minutes, we had that. Glenn said to me, it was Wednesday, he said, I'm gonna finish the track, you go home, finish the lyric, we'll demo the song on Friday. We did that. And at the end of the night, it was like 7:30. Glenn and I stood up and we hugged. We knew we had something very special. We didn't know if Quincy would think so.
Right.
And we didn't know if he did think it was special enough for Michael to record it. Right. Didn't know if Michael liked it, if he thought it was good enough to go on the album. Right. If it went on the album, we didn't know if it was good enough to stay on the album.
The whole...
Yeah, all that. So many hoops. So many things had to be in alignment for that song to do what it did. After Glenn and I hugged each other, I knew that the Quest publishing offices were closed. It was 7:30 on a Friday night. So I did not want to wait until Monday. And I don't know where I got the gumption. It was maybe that same girl that decided to call Sergio Mendes on the radio. Right. I called Quincy Jones at his house. I've been signed with him for 2.5 years. Never have I called that man at the house. I called the house and I said, Quincy, Glenn and I have written this great song. We think you're gonna love it for Michael. He said, fine, turn it into to Quest on Monday. I'll hear it on Monday or Tuesday. I said, Quincy, can I just come by and just drop off my
This is Quincy
cassette?
Jones.
Right.
Can I just come by and just drop off my cassette? And he said, no, Sid, you don't understand. I got 12 suits in my dining room right now. 12 suits. I don't have, Quincy, okay, you have to know, Quincy has 6 daughters.
Yeah.
So he really knew this little tete-a-tete we were having was futile. He knew. So he said, all right, bring it. Shit. And he hung up the phone. So I go to Quincy Jones's house, and the housekeeper opens the door, and she calls to Quincy, and all of a sudden these dining room doors open, and sure enough, 12 suits sitting at the table, and I walk in, and they're looking at the expression on all their faces was like, who is this? And why are they interrupting this meeting? We're doing something big here. Yeah. Who is this that's taking our? I saw that on all their faces. So I gave Quincy the cassette. I said, Quincy, the only thing I asked is please let me know as soon as you can. He said, all right, shit. And he closed the door. I got in my car and I went home, started making dinner. And a couple hours later, 2-3 hours later, the phone rang. It's Quincy Jones. And Quincy gets on the phone and says, and I quote, Sid, this is the best song I've heard in 10 years. And I'm like, yes. Then he said, but I didn't really hear shit after best song 10 years. I just wanted to live. Want to live in that moment. But I think I heard him say something like, but Michael, we've been in the studio with Michael for 2.5 years. Michael has yet to record anything he didn't write. I don't know, Sid, but don't worry. If I don't record it with Michael on his record, I'll do it with James Ingram on my record.
Gotcha.
And I'm thinking,
Right.
had to let that go.
Yeah.
2 or 3 days later, maybe 4 days later, I got a call from Quincy. And he said, and I quote, yo, Sid, we in the studio recording your old piece of song.
Yo, piece of song.
Then I heard, but, and of course, didn't hear shit after piece of song. So he said, but Michael has a problem with the chorus. He said that, hold on, Sid. And then I hear, and then Quincy said, Michael really wants you to bring home the idea of, hold on. And then I hear,
He's just whispering in his ear.
She's telling Quincy. So Quincy gets back. He says, hold on, Sid. Quincy Jones it's Michael Jackson.
On the
Oh
phone.
wow. Oh wow.
I don't know about y'all. But Michael was my husband. When I was growing up, my cousins had Tito and Jermaine, and Michael
was yours?
was my husband. So in my mind, I'm now on the phone with my husband. But I did not want to be fangirl,
Right.
which is what I truly am. I really wanted to say, oh my God, Michael, your whole life is my soundtrack. Everything you wrote, I just love you so much. Your voice, I love it. But baby, I got on the phone with him, straight hotel operator. I said, how can I help you? The first thing Michael Jackson said to me was, I love this song. I said, thank you. The second thing my husband said to me
My husband.
was, I love your voice. I was like, thank you. Then he started telling me what he wanted to, the chorus needs to be extended, and I want you to say blah, blah, blah. And I went home. But I didn't really want Michael, I didn't want him have to come up with the next stanzas to trouble his little mind about what the next four. So I wrote 6 different stanzas.
6 different.
6 different stanzas for him to choose from. I don't know what the other 5 were, and I'm very regretful that I didn't save that paper that they were on, because we weren't computerized at that time.
Right.
So the stanza he chose was, you got to get it right while you got the time, because when you close your heart, then you close your mind. So I did that, and I turned it in, and it was just a great session. I was called for the Man in the Mirror session with Andre Crouch and the choir, and it was so much fun.
What's going on?
And
Just what?
yeah.
What?
Yeah. We were in a studio at Westlake where Michael could see the whole vocal booth from a private room upstairs. So he watched the whole thing go down. It was so much fun. When we recorded Man in the Mirror, Quincy thought that the song was in a key that was a little bit too high for Michael. So we wanted to lower the key and have me re-sing the demo. So I was like, fine. I go there to sing the demo in a lower key, and I walk in the studio, and it's Quincy, Bruce Swedeen, and my husband, right? So again, I was not gonna be what he expects every Black girl in his age range to just, oh my God, I didn't want to be that girl.
Yeah,
So
no fangirling.
right. I just wanted to, I wanted to treat it like I was meeting a plumber or my neighbor, or it was, I just didn't want to gush like like it was in my heart. So I think he appreciated that, because I wanted to be the antithesis of what came at him every single day. After Michael and I exchanged pleasantries, and I just tried not to stare at him, just because of who he is. I just tried to treat him like I was treating Bruce, or he was just another guy in the room, right? So Quincy said, Sid, I think you need to go in the studio and re-sing
demo.
this demo in the right key. So I said, okay. I get up and I start to walk through the doors to get to the vocal booth, and Michael gets up and starts following me.
Into the booth?
Yeah. With a breadbasket of a video recorder on his shoulder. I'm not kidding. And so he's following me, and I'm looking back behind me going, what are you doing? He said, I wanna film you singing the song. I said, why? He said, because I want to sing it like you. And I said, great, Mike. All my friends are going to believe me when I tell them he wanted to sing. And I never, ever, ever told that story until Spike Lee's Bad 25 came out, where he showed me
the video.
Walking into the studio with Michael behind me with this video camera. There's a whole wall of mirrors in that studio. So as I walked past the mirror to record Man in the Mirror, I was looking at the band in the mirror. It was too much. It was all too much. So I never told that story until the Spike Lee documentary came out, which proved that's what happened, right? So I sang the song in a higher key, and Michael filmed it, and then a few days later with the choir, and then after that, Quincy called me back, and I thought we were going to finish recording "Man in the Mirror," and this other song was playing. And again, it was me, Bruce Swedeen, and Michael. This other song, and so I just thought, oh, they're running late. I must be early. So I'm sitting behind the Quincy and Bruce on a couch knitting. So I'm sitting there knitting, and Quincy goes sort of offhand, over his shoulder. He said, "So Sid, you like this song?" I was like, "Yeah. I like it." He said, "Can you sing it?" I was like, "Yeah." Now, what if I said, "Nah"?
What if you had said,
"This is all right," you know? But so he said, "Go in there and sing it." So I get up and I walk in there, and then Quincy goes, "Michael, go on in there." And I'm like, "What?" So I walk into the booth, and there's two music stands, and on the music stand was a sheet of music. The title of the song, "I Just Can't Stop Loving You." First verse, Michael. Second verse, Siedah.
Whoa.
Man.
I saw that shit, and it was right in that moment that I knew, oh my God! I'm duetting with the king of pop.
Yes,
That's
you are.
crazy.
What?
And what a duet.
Man, it was insane.
How did your nerves play? And did you get nervous? Were you excited? Were you
All
prepared?
I wanted to do is I wanted to sing my best vocal for my husband. I wanted to just give everything that I every subtlety that I could think of, every nuance that I could. I just wanted to give him, like Quincy, you want to give your best.
Your best.
Yeah,
Yes.
You hear it on that record.
Man,
Absolutely.
it was so great. And we spent a week recording that song. We did it in English. We did it in French. We did it in Spanish.
Wow.
Man.
What an experience.
That's
And
crazy.
Ruben Blades taught us the Spanish version. And just hanging out with him was a trip.
Right.
It was just,
First of all, people don't record duets like that anymore.
No.
Where you're actually standing in the room together.
Right.
It's like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do your part and you might
no,
send it,
we were
email
facing
it,
each
and
other. It was great.
That's like the real deal.
Yeah.
How you record, Phil.
That's actually what I'm going to do for my album. actually.
Okay. Right.
We sound crazy.
Then tell me just what will I do? 'Cause I just can't stop loving you.
Siedah, I have to ask you your top 4 songwriters of all time.
Good question.
John Lennon, Rod Temperton, Allie Willis, and Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
Stevie, I mean, to me,
Stevland Morris.
Stevland Morris, if you will.
Yes.
The album that both Man in the Mirror and I Just Can't Stop Loving You are on is actually my personal favorite Michael Jackson album.
Mine is Off the Wall.
And there's a valid play for all of them,
Yes.
right? But I feel like there's the music that your parents teach you to listen to, and there's the first time you get to buy music. That has a different kind of emotional attachment. You get to say, I'm voting for this thing.
What was the first record you bought?
Bad. It was the first album that I got that felt like I chose this. It was because I wanted it, and I got to like listen to it as a music fan and just listen from beginning to end. And it taught me magic in music in every way.
Wait, I want to tell you what my first record was that I bought. There were 2 45s, and they were 56 cents each.
Oh, those are the days.
Oh, yeah. So one of them was Stevie Wonder's "Don't You Worry About a Thing" and Michael Jackson's "Corner of the Sky."
Wow. See how Michael Jackson is? He's just in
He's
everyone.
in my DNA, dude. In
That's
my
crazy.
DNA.
Wow.
For sure.
Now I want to pivot because first of all, I just want to say that thus far, there's like several lessons in everything you said about how you handle business, how you got in the door, how you maintained your position, how you were able to get opportunities that I think are so valuable for songwriters and artists coming up. Staying ready.
Yes.
The writing the 6 versions of the song for Michael Jackson. Just to be prepared for whatever came your way.
Yeah.
But the other thing I love about your career is that because you are a connoisseur of music in general, you've really done it all. Like there's you as a songwriter, you as an artist. There's also you as the background vocalist on so many records.
Yes.
Background vocals are my favorite thing to record, dude. It's so much fun. I love the harmonies and the blending, and it's
Donna
just,
Summer,
yeah,
Madonna.
Papa Don't Preach, Lies. I mean, some of my
Michael
favorite.
McDonald.
Michael McDonald.
That's Sweet Freedom.
Sweet Freedom.
Rod Temperton
is my joint.
Come on.
And so, like, even when you're not in the front, people are still getting that Siedah sound on so many songs.
Yeah.
And it's just such a testament to how you have to be flexible as life and your career takes twists and turns.
Yes.
If you love music.
Yes.
You agree with that? I mean,
I totally
that's
agree
the
with
example
that.
I feel like you've set.
We sound crazy.
I have to ask you,
No.
going back to Madonna, because you're all over that True Blue album, which to me, that's one of my favorite Madonna records, top to bottom. I mean, Papa Don't Preach, La Isla Bonita,
True Blue.
Yeah.
What do you, like, how did that relationship form?
I think it started with Stephen Bray, I knew Stephen from my years with Jelly Bean Bonitas, because he recorded Do You Want It Right Now?
Yeah. He did all the early Madonna records.
Yes. They were dating at the time, so Jelly Bean was. And then Stephen was producing the record and needed some background, so I hired a friend of mine who's like a singer that has perfect pitch. I could depend on her for everything. And then the two of us were in the studio, and I thought about another voice. And so I asked Madonna, do you want to sing on this? With us two background singers, you want to? So I hired Madonna to sing background on her record.
You want some work?
That was a trip. Yeah, that was so much fun. But years later, I ran into her at Nobu restaurant, and I was there by myself because that's what I do. And I was in the private dining area, and I'm sitting there. In walks Guy Ritchie and Madonna, and they have a seat at near the wall. It's like an L shape. They have a seat near the wall. So Madonna goes, "Hey, Siedah, how are you?" I said, "I'm great." She said, "What have you been doing?" And I said, "Waiting for somebody to fuck up so I can take their place on your tour." She laughed, and then like a few months later, I guess somebody fucked up. Because I ended up touring with Madonna on the Reinvention tour. Yeah. Let me tell you something about Madonna. She has said to me, Siedah, I know I'm not, the best singer or the best dancer. And then she goes on to say what she's not. And I have to remind myself, it doesn't matter what she's not good at. Because this bitch is rolling, okay? Whatever she's not doing, it's working. That's just what I told her. Whatever you're not doing, Madonna, it's working. Don't change. You don't have to do shit. Madonna's biggest talent is selling Madonna.
Yeah.
She knows how to market Madonna like nobody's business. The only other artist that I knew how to do that well was Michael. They knew how to market their stardom, their brand.
And that's a gift.
It is.
Yeah.
And it ain't easy.
No, it is not easy.
So Madonna is such a hard worker because she knows she's not the best. So she strives to be better every day. And that's fine when you're an artist, but when you're the background singer, I was used to rehearsing for 2-3 months and then going on the road and not rehearsing anymore. Madonna we rehearsed for 3 months, and then every show, there was something she wanted to fix. So we had to, it was twice the work. So I toured with her for 3 months, and it was the longest 1.5 years of my life. I swear to God.
So it didn't last long.
No, it wasn't. It was too much work, but I enjoyed watching her control her audience. I enjoyed watching her do what she does for her fans. Like I learned from watching Michael do what he did.
Yeah.
It was just a learning experience for me.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it was great.
When you work with that many people, and we still have scratched the surface on all the people that you have influenced and work with, what are your thoughts on artistry today? Who do you love, and what do you feel about where the bar is right now?
The bar is very low. The bar is about 2 inches off the ground, actually. It's done differently now. I don't know. You don't really have to hone your craft. You don't really have to. You just auto-tune and it'll be fine. You know, you even go on the road with auto-tune. So you never really have to be a good singer. You never really have to study your craft. You just have to sing into the mic, and it doesn't matter where you go, it'll always be in tune. That's not really creating muscle memory for your vocals. It's not really teaching you anything about your voice when you alter it like that. So I think singers who are coming up today, God, I sound like my grandmother. Singers today, you know, when I was coming up, so singers today I think they're at a distinct disadvantage because they don't have to practice, they don't have to rehearse, they don't have to do everything that I had to do to hone my gift, to make my instrument as good as it can be.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you just turn on the auto-tune and you just sing, and you're a singer. You rap and you can sing. You know, it's amazing, but I think it's taking something away from you as an artist to develop your instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Your voice.
I totally agree.
There's some work that you have to do before. Those are tools, but you're right. It's replacing the hard work.
Yeah.
And there's beauty in the rehearsals. There's beauty in the mess ups. There's beauty in all that. In the
Rehearsal
process.
is my favorite time of touring. It's my favorite time of all, because everybody's doing the work.
Yeah.
But you're having fun because you're chilling and you're relaxing and you're learning your stuff. It's the most fun for me.
So do you love anyone? Like what artist do you love right now?
I'm liking Lizzo.
Okay.
I like Lizzo and what she stands for. I like her music. I've always loved Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
I saw a video of him when he was like 6 years old. He's just amazing. I always loved Bruno Mars, and there are a lot of artists more older, not so much today because I don't. It's hard to get into. There are no songs today. I don't know how else to explain it. I like Justin Timberlake.
What about Bobby Valentino?
Who?
Her point taken right there.
Who's Bobby Valentino? I'm sorry.
One of Timon's favorites.
Not so much.
Is that a woman or a man?
It's a man.
It's a man.
Okay.
Not so much. But what is one of my favorites?
Oh, come on, Timon.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
I want to know, because it was produced by Rod Temperton and Dick Rudolph. But then, of course,
mostly Rod Temperton.
And Quincy EP'd the project.
Yes.
So transitioning from you doing background, you singing all over the place, and then you finally get a chance to do a solo record. Just what do you remember about that time?
I remember I chose to do this record instead of going on the Bad tour.
Wow.
I rehearsed for the Bad tour.
Wow.
For about 7 or 8 days. And then Quincy and Rod took me to the side, and I said, I really want to go on the road with Michael. And they were like, the record executive at Warner Brothers was saying, you need to make your own record while the duet is out and that's hot and the Man in the Mirror is coming. You need to make your own record to ride out whatever, So I believed them, and I decided to make this record. It was fun making the record because I got to hang out with Rod, and remind me to tell you my Rod Temperton story while making this record. But while I told Michael after 7 or 8 days, I said, I think I want to make my own record. He said, You're not coming? No, I think I want to. He said, okay. Next thing I know, enter Sheryl Crow.
That's what I'm saying, because Sheryl Crow got her start singing background, and she did all the clips from the tour. She was singing.
Part.
Yeah.
That's where it
Lord,
came from.
you done.
Exit Siedah, enter Sheryl Crow. So If I had any regrets in my life, missing the Bad tour was one of my biggest regrets. But when the Dangerous tour came around, I said, Mike, dude, I want to go on the. Oh, it happened. American Idol. One of their contestants was singing "Man in the Mirror," so they asked me to come and sing "Man in the Mirror" with this contestant. So I'm on stage with this idol singing, and then I went to the green room, and in the green room was Michael's nanny. And she said, she's Ethiopian. She said, oh, Siedah, I remember meeting you at the house. I'd only been to Michael's house one time. And Michael never showed up. He stayed in the, that's a long story. Anyway, I was there one time, and I remember having met her. And she said, I was just talking to Michael on the phone. I said, well, if you talk to him again, tell him I miss his black ass. She said, okay. A few minutes later, they had another break. I'm back in the green room. She said, oh, Siedah, I have Michael on the phone. I said, Michael, I miss your black ass. He said, you're so crazy.
Very few people could tell Michael I miss your black ass and not catch some serious repercussions.
You're so crazy. So I said, dude, you getting ready to go on a tour? He said, yeah, we're getting ready to go. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be all, a world tour. I said, I want to go. He said, you want to go? I said, yes, I want to go this time. I'm not missing this. He said, okay. So I was on the Dangerous tour.
That's
Wow.
Man.
friendship, relationships.
Dude.
You mentioned Idol, which is a great segue because there's a certain American Idol, didn't win, but won an Oscar.
Hello.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this publicly, that the very best Jennifer Hudson song in existence,
Yes.
written, recorded, produced, is the song that you wrote for
Dreamgirls.
the new original song from Dreamgirls.
I love you, I do. I love you.
Thank you.
What a song.
What a song.
That was a trip.
Love You, I Do,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful song. You just figured out how to put her voice in a sound package that's perfect.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you. Never
Yeah.
heard it said like that before. Getting that gig was a bit of a maneuver. The director of the film, Dreamgirls, was very conscious about wanting to use the original composer and the original lyricist from the musical, the Broadway musical. And the original composer is named Henry Krieger, but the original lyricist, I think a man named Tom Iles, had passed away. So the director was, quote unquote, auditioning lyricists. You had to be able to paint pictures with your words. So I turned in a couple of sets of lyrics, one of which was Man in the Mirror, and they said, she can do this. So I kind
If
of
you send a
auditioned.
Man in the Mirror, then that's all you got to send.
Right.
That paints a pretty picture.
yeah.
So I auditioned for the director and Henry Krieger. They liked me. So I started writing with Henry for this film. And we wrote like 5 songs. One of them was up for 3 of the 5 positions of best song of the year from a musical. And we had 3 songs in that category, and none of those 3 songs won. It was another song. So writing with Henry was an awesome experience, and having Jennifer record the song that we wrote was just amazing. I mean, I knew about her from American Idol, but I didn't know she was like the Jennifer Hudson.
Right.
Nobody knew that.
No one knew at that point.
Yeah, so it was awesome
I feel like that movie obviously made her the Jennifer Hudson that we all talk about.
Yeah.
for sure.
So those songs were defining as to why she's the Jennifer Hudson that we now know, who's legendary now. She's
EGOT.
an EGOT.
She's an EGOT, yeah.
She's an EGOT.
I'm interested in knowing, like, when it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be? Because I mean, you have such a rich.
I too am going for the EGOT.
High five.
Okay.
Let's do that. Come on.
I mean, I got a couple of nominations, but I need that statuette. So, and I haven't really set my mind on writing for television yet, but I'm definitely writing for film, and I'm going for that EGOT as well.
Are you in the Songwriters Hall of Fame yet?
Not yet, but
That's
last year I
crazy.
gave Glenn Ballard an award for
Okay.
his work in the music industry.
Let's fix that
Yeah.
immediately.
I want to go back to your solo debut, Kiss of Life, and you talked about working with Rod Temperton.
Yeah.
Tell us about that experience on that debut.
Okay. I think the craziest story. Well, first of all, Rod had 2 studios going because we were we had, for some reason, we were trying to get the record out. So he had 2 studios going at Westlake. So we would record vocals from sundown to damn near sunrise. And we were in the studio one day, and I forgot what song we were recording the vocals on, but I was in the booth singing, and Rod had a toothache, and he's in such pain, but he's smoking his cigarette, and he's drinking his coffee and smoking his cigarette, and it's like holding his jaw like this while I'm doing the vocals, holding his jaw. And at one point, I see him tap the second engineer, and the second engineer gets up and goes out of the room. He comes back into the room with a pair of needle nose pliers. Exactly.
No,
that
no.
face right there.
No.
So Rod Temperton, while I'm singing, I'm watching him take the pliers, still with the cigarette, take the pliers, clamp down on that tooth, yank it out of his mouth, put down the tooth and the pliers, pick up his coffee, roll it around his mouth, take a swig of his cigarette, swallow. Okay, let's go on, Sid. Who disinfects their tooth that you just pulled out of your blood? I don't know what was in there.
What?
But he washed it all down with black coffee and a cigarette. And I said,
What?
Rod, what are you...
We're not that strong anymore.
No.
We're not that
Rod,
strong anymore.
dude, he said, hey, who has time to go to the dentist? We're working here, Sid. I haven't got time for that. We're working here. So I was like, oh my God, this man's insane. So that was one of the craziest.
That is crazy. That's pretty
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
You sound crazy.
Well, I'm in the right place.
Right. Yeah.
We sound crazy.
Is there anyone that you? Every songwriter, producer, creative has people that they want to work with. They haven't. Do you have a couple people that
It
you're
was
like,
Prince.
Prince.
It was Prince.
Prince.
I met him a couple of times, but I was never able to work with him. And I was so jealous when Tevin worked with him, and I didn't, you know, it was a lot.
That would have been a crazy combo.
Man, he was something else.
Prince. Was okay. So was the Michael Prince rivalry as real?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Let me tell you.
Oh.
Quincy
comfortable.
told me Bad, the song, was supposed to be a duet
Okay.
with he
And Prince.
right? But they'd never met. So Quincy arranged for them to meet. Michael's in the studio, in a private office in the studio with Quincy, and then Prince shows up. Well, Michael had, I don't know what he was doing, but he had his glasses on like this to cover, I don't know. He was wearing his glasses like this for some reason. So, and they were sunglasses, kind of like this. So Prince walks in the room, looks at Michael, Quincy introduces them, and Prince says, this is what Quincy told me. Prince said to Michael, you gonna put them glasses on or you gonna take them off? That's when Quincy said he knew.
It won't
This
go.
little duet.
It
wasn't gonna happen.
It wasn't gonna happen.
And then Quincy said the first line, your bud is mine. Prince was like, no,
Not doing it.
no, no, that didn't happen.
And that was it. Grand opening.
That
grand
was it.
closing.
Grand
crazy.
opening, grand closing. Yes.
God. Three giants in a room.
Yeah.
Well, two and a half.
If Quincy could,
Oh, Quincy.
Quincy.
That's
Yeah,
right.
right,
Three.
yeah.
if
Three.
Quincy couldn't get them together, nobody could.
That's right.
Yeah.
They had a rival, but it was a love-hate thing because, as you know, Michael named his son Prince Michael.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh.
I never made that connection, really.
Michael respected Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I remember having a big argument at Quincy's house for one Christmas dinner with Rashida about who is better, Michael or Prince. And of course, I'm on Team MJ.
Of course.
Yeah.
And because they had different talents, I wouldn't compare them like that. Because Prince sang, danced, and played every instrument.
Yeah.
Michael sang, danced, but didn't really play.
Yeah.
So they both had their
Yeah.
gifts.
Yeah.
I mean, they were both iconic. The way they dressed, the songs they played, the things that they were into, it was all iconic and very special to each one of them. So it was hard for me to compare it. It was like comparing apples to oranges. But as far as raw talent, I believe because Prince played everything and sang everything and danced the way he did and produced his own music, I think he had a little bit of an edge on MJ. That's the first time I've ever said that.
Wow.
But you know what? To that point, where there's that instrumentation part is where people don't give the Jackson 5 their credit because the brothers together
That's good, Claude.
are crazy instruments. Like the band itself on all their individual instruments, which is how they started.
Right.
And then, of course, as Michael gets bigger, he kind of eclipses them. But in the process, you also forget that the Jackson 5, the Jacksons as a band were prolific together.
Indeed.
So he never really had to play.
Indeed. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Or play drums
That's
or anything.
right.
His brothers had his back. So in that spirit, let's play some Keep or Kill. We have this game called Keep or Kill, right? Which is where we say it's almost like you're not really killing them, but you're just which one do you prefer?
Okay.
And normally we would say Michael and Prince, but we know your answer to that one.
Okay.
So quick answers to see where your head is at. Let's see. Whitney Houston or Mariah Carey? Keep or Kill?
Keep Whitney, kill Mariah.
Earth, Wind, and Fire or the Isley Brothers?
Ooh. Keep Earth, Wind, and Fire.
In the spirit of Yamo Be There, Michael McDonald or James Ingram?
Oh, man.
It's a good one.
James.
Shaka Khan or Michael Jackson?
Shaka. I'm sorry. Shaka.
Shaka's number one.
Sorry. Yeah. Duh.
No question here. Songwriting or performing?
Ooh. That's like, which one of your kids?
It is right. Which one of your kids?
I'm more relaxed writing songs. I'm very anxiety ridden when I have to perform. Like I performed yesterday. I was a mess all day.
Yeah.
My heart palpitates. I get nervous. I get cold. My fingers get numb.
Yeah.
I just get really anxious about performing. But songwriting, I do in the overnight hours. I start around 11, 12, and I work till just before sunrise.
Wow.
Because it's so quiet. There's no leaf blowers. There's no car horns.
Right.
There's no kids playing. There's no garbage trucks.
Yeah.
It's just peace. And that is when I feel my muse visits in the overnight hours. When I can really just hone into that spirit.
That's when my muse visits. That's a good line.
I love her.
Tomorrow or Secret Garden?
Ooh, wow.
Right.
Tomorrow. Yeah. Keep tomorrow, kill Secret Garden.
Kill the secret, keep tomorrow.
Donna Summer or Madonna?
Huh?
Right.
You work with both.
Yeah.
As far as what? Their artistry or just in
I don't
general?
know.
Whatever you
Whatever
want.
you
Oh,
want.
y'all are killing me right now. Madonna.
Okay, let me add to that. Madonna or Janet Jackson?
Huh. Madonna.
Interesting.
Madonna she's everything. Madonna's the whole package. Madonna is her own entity. Janet comes in and out.
Okay.
Madonna's an icon, and she changes the consciousness, the social consciousness with her music. I mean, Papa Don't Preach, teenagers were keeping their kids, not aborting because of Madonna.
Yeah.
So when you have that kind of power, Madonna changed the way people dressed. Madonna changed the way people listened to music. Madonna changed disco. Madonna brought in Vogue, voguing. It changed. She's an iconoclast. It changed the whole energy and focus. She has this whirlwind around her, her own little orbit around her. Janet has to build that with each album. I think Madonna just does that.
That's an interesting analysis.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I got one.
Yes.
Background vocal edition. I Live For Your Love, Natalie Cole, or You Put a Move on My Heart, Tamia.
Tamia. I sang the demo.
Yeah.
Rod wrote the song. I sang the demo, and Tamia. But her vocal is a little bit different because
She's up there.
I don't have all that.
Soprano. So you were there for the beginnings of Tamia's career when she signed to
Quest.
Quincy.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
What? That is so crazy to me.
Crazy.
She married well, so she don't have to go through this bullshit. God bless you, Tamia.
What's up, Grant?
See ya.
Brother. The other. What's your band name with?
Hillionaire.
Hillionaire. That's Grant Hill and Phil's makeup band.
Will we ever get a Siedah Garrett like documentary? Like I just feel like you've done so
That's a good question.
much.
I would love that.
And
Let me ask my manager.
your story needs to be told.
Shout out Eric Nuri in the building.
Eric
Eric
Nuri.
In the building.
We're working on the book now.
Okay.
Good.
When the book comes out, then we'll do the documentary.
I can't
So
book,
there will be a documentary.
book and then documentary.
I
Yeah,
cannot
you all
wait.
have to know this is the first time I heard of this shit. Y'all gotta know that.
Surprise, surprise.
World
I
exclusive.
cannot wait. I can't wait.
It's needed.
Yes.
It's needed. It's needed. It's similar because we talked recently about the We Are the World documentary,
Yes.
which is brilliant because obviously you see all these Quincy, Lionel, Michael, Stevie in their element. So similar to what you're saying about Michael filming you when you were recording Man in the Mirror. Like there's just so much knowledge you have from all these people you work with, and of course your greatness. I would love to see that documentary. We need it.
Bless your
Me
heart.
too. I may or may not know someone who could produce this for you. So I may, Eric. Just
What you know, by the way? What you
Okay.
know?
I may
So,
know. I may
let
know
me-
a
let me-
person
By the
too.
way,
Let me
I
brag-
might know.
Let's brag on our boy. So Phil is the man.
Yeah.
So not only is he the man, if you're in Tennessee, you gotta go through Phil because he's the connector to but he literally is, in my opinion, one of the most influential people in the music business right now.
By the way.
By the,
Phil,
by the way.
we introduced explanation. We introduced Phil to Siedah when she came in. I said, "This is Phil, by the way," and she said,
Well, hello, Mr. By the way.
"It's stuck." So,
Phil, by the way.
Call him Mr. By the way.
By the way.
but Phil is explain Luther Vandross.
Yeah, I just
Talk about it.
I just produced a Luther Vandross documentary. We premiered it at Sundance actually a few months ago. So amazing doc. Did it in tandem with the family and the estate, alongside Jamie Foxx, Tatari Turner, Colin Firth, Miss Dawn Porter. She was an amazing director.
Wow.
But so again, doing more stories of some of our amazing greats and telling the story while you can tell the story.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
So I seriously, it's a story that needs to be told. And when you're ready, again, alongside the book, we can really put together an amazing team.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
So the Luther doc, that's something to give you a tangible reference point of the work. I've done.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Did you work with Luther?
No, but not recording, but I knew Luther. In fact, I ran into him at a supermarket one time, and he had a concert that he was performing a few days later. And he asked me if I was coming. I was like, no, I didn't get a chance. I didn't get tickets. So he reached in his pocket and he says, my mama's coming. I'm going to give you, you're going to sit next to my mama. And he gave me a ticket. I went to the concert. I wasn't sitting next to his mama, but I got to see the concert. I guess his mama gave the ticket to somebody else. I don't know, but I got to see him in concert. And a dear friend of mine was touring with him. A couple of my friends were touring with him. And they said he was so much fun to work with. And they enjoyed performing with him a lot. The only time they didn't enjoy was when they were on the road with Anita Baker. She was Luther said she was just a mess because she would do things like she would go on before him and she would sing his songs. Yeah.
Sing his songs.
She would sing Luther songs in her set. So by the time Luther came on to sing his, the audience had already heard this damn song.
That's crazy.
It was,
I didn't know that.
Yes.
That is Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cold out there sometimes.
Man,
It's cold out there.
all the time.
We sound crazy.
Any regrets?
Not doing the bad tour.
Yeah.
Not doing the bad tour.
Oh, and there was one, maybe not so much a regret because it was a choice I had to make. When it came time to go on the Dangerous tour, I had been on the Oprah show with Quincy promoting his album, and there was one segment Oprah had on her show called People Who Exude Sex. Evidently, Oprah thought I was one of those people. After the show, one of her shows, we got in her car and drove from Chicago to her farm in Indiana. I hung out with her, we spent the night, and then drove back to Chicago the next day. After that, Oprah thought, I was telling stories, and she said, I would love to create a television show based on, there was a white group from Ireland who sang soul songs, The Commitments, and there was a movie called The Commitments. So she wanted to do a television show like The Commitments. So I said, so they were white teenagers performing black soul music. So if I'm part of The Commitments or this new band that you want, based on the idea of Commitments, are we a black band doing white music or like what? She said, I don't know. I said, okay, is this gonna be filmed or this gonna be on video? She said, I don't know. I said, okay, so is it gonna be based in LA or Chicago? Or she said, I don't know. And then Michael said, we're doing the Dangerous tour. And Oprah said, I wanna offer you a television deal, 10 weeks for whatever amount, I think 10 grand or whatever it was, 10 weeks of filming. Or you go on the road with MJ for a year and a half, making $6 grand a week. So I said, it was like, Oprah, Michael, Oprah. So
not an easy choice, though.
No, and I don't know what could have happened had I done that television show with Oprah. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I had to make that decision because they were happening at the same time.
Wow.
So I had to pick one, literally days apart.
How do you pick the? Do you pray? Do you meditate? Do you call mom? Like, how do you make those kind of decisions?
I asked Quincy. I asked Rod Temperton. I asked my mentors. I asked the people that I thought could give me the best advice.
Yeah.
And then I took that advice and made the decision that I didn't want to miss this MJ opportunity for a second time. So I decided to go on the Dangerous tour.
Worked out.
So that's not a regret. That's just
some.
Yeah, no, that isn't. The bad tour, the first, that was a regret. Because who knows, maybe Sheryl Crow would have found somebody else. I don't know. But I left and she took my place.
But it is a flex that you were able to turn down Oprah to go on the Dangerous tour.
Michael, Oprah.
Yeah, it's a flex. It's a flex. It's a flex.
We sound crazy.
I mean, so Miss Siedah Garrett.
Yes.
I know you've watched the podcast. You told us you watched the Mickey Howard episode.
Mickey!
So you're used to our format here, but we're going to switch it up on you a little bit this time, if you don't mind. Normally at this point, we do what's called the Esterol Black Excellence Award, otherwise known as the Irby. And what that normally is us nominating people in the industry that we feel haven't gotten the love they deserve. But when we have special people like yourself in the building, we like to make sure that we make it special.
Okay.
What you've done for the music business, what you've done for musicians, for artists, for songwriters, for producers, for multifaceted creatives is groundbreaking, exemplary, historic, legendary, and we want to make sure we're uplifting our people, our Black women that are doing that. So we got a little something special for you this time.
Is it an Irby?
It's better than an Irby.
Okay.
It is.
Is it herb?
It's
It could be herb.
Almost as good as herb. An official We Sound Crazy Songwriter Hall of Fame award to the incredible
Siedah Garrett.
Siedah Garrett. Because there's only one you.
You spelled my name wrong. Psych.
Yo,
I was about to be like,
my heart.
Oh my God.
My heart just now. That wasn't even funny. I was like, oh, God.
Thank you, you guys.
You've inspired us all. You're the soundtrack to our lives.
Oh man, thanks.
You agree, right, Phil?
I completely agree. Like, so
I mean, you deserve that and more. Like,
thank you.
And we don't hand them out
No.
a lot. This
No.
is 2 out of 100.
This is 2 out of 100 episodes.
Who got the other one?
Should we tell you?
You need to tell me now, because I'm gonna find out.
I'm scared. Someone tell her.
Candy Burst.
Oh, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
I'm not mad. I'm in good company.
You're in great company.
I love
And-
Candy Birds.
And we're being very elite about it for that very reason, because it's for songwriting royalty,
Oh wow,
of which you are.
thank you.
So
Candy Burris is one of my. She's one of the people that I like to watch because I like the way she moves. I really do.
she's a businesswoman.
Man,
Yeah,
the
she's in
family
charge.
woman. I love her reality TV show. I love it. I love it.
I think she'd be happy to hear that.
Yeah.
I think she'd be really.
Maybe she'll hear this and she'll know.
She will. We gave her flowers too, but
Candy's amazing.
she is. She is.
But you're amazing as well.
Yes. Stop trying to push it off on other people. You know what I'm saying?
It's your moment.
This is your moment.
Yeah.
Okay, damn it, I'm amazing.
End of story.
Yeah.
So okay, just to fast forward to today, right? So obviously you've done so much. You're an LA native, by the way.
Yes.
So and I'm not.
I think there are like 5 of
There's
us.
like 5 y'all unicorns. LA native. You've done all this stuff. You're still in LA, and there's a whole other side to what you do, philanthropic and just giving back. But also you're also a podcaster now.
Yes.
So just fill us in on what's happening.
Okay, my husband found out about a contest that iHeartMedia was putting on, trying to discover the next great female podcaster. So they had a contest, about 500 entries, and they chose 10, one of which was mine. And my podcast is called The Uppity Knitter.
If you know, you know.
It's a little deceiving because you would think it's a podcast about knitting. It's a podcast about celebrities and their hobbies. So I got to talk to Michael T. Williamson. I talked to Cindy Blackman Santana,
Wow.
Dawn Lewis, Spike Lee, D. Nice.
Oh, yeah, shout out D. Nice. That's what's up. Yeah.
Yes. It was just a great time that I had with these artists who are always on camera talking about their work. And when you talk to somebody about their passion, their whole face lights up, their energy lifts, and they're excited to tell you about something that they've never been asked about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I enjoyed finding out the hobbies that the fans either didn't know about or knew very little about
Right.
that their artists were into, and I found that just the most fascinating.
That's a great angle.
Thank you.
And obviously knitting is your passion.
One of knitting and crocheting are my serious passions.
That's why you said when you were knitting on behind in the studio
That's
back in the
right.
day, I'm like, you've been doing it that long?
Yes, I knitted. When I was crocheting very early on, I wasn't very good at it. I wasn't very good at determining the weight of the yarn I was using. So I crocheted Quincy this sweater that he said it was so heavy. He would wear it skiing, so he would sweat with this big heavy sweater on. So I've learned how to finesse my choice of yarn and the needles sizes and all that. So I've finessed it a little bit, but that's a growing something you have to learn to do as you do more of it.
Yeah.
So that was my passion, and we did this. We did 10 episodes, and then I don't know what iHeartMedia was thinking. I guess they thought we would just do 10 episodes and then we become the best podcasters on of the year or what. But we were all trying to promote our own selves, trying to do our, and it was just like a little drop in a pond. I mean, they guaranteed a certain amount of streams, but you really need a machine behind you to promote what you're doing. And after a year, we were all dropped. After our 10 episodes, they dropped us. So I have 10 episodes that are great that are funny that I can now take to another platform.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the whole podcast thing.
it's great.
This shit is fun,
It's
man.
fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. I hope to see more episodes because it's really, really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And you're a good podcast host.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're
So,
hilarious.
so you've mentioned like every story that you've mentioned has been an iconic moment.
Basically.
But I want to know what's your iconic moment in your mind, your most iconic moment of your life.
I would say, other than me finding out I was duetting with Michael, was when we were on the road. My first show with him.
Mm.
He did a prayer. He does a prayer at the beginning of the show, and for some reason, I had to go back and fix some makeup or fix something, and I missed the prayer, and I was so upset. I started to cry. I was mad. So Michael came over to me. He said, "What's wrong?" I missed the prayer. He said, "That's all right. Let's just do it right here."
Just you and Michael?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, man.
He was so awesome. I loved him so much.
Yeah.
It's a real friend.
Yeah.
He taught me so much.
Oh.
Just by watching him and listening to him and watching how he recorded and watched how he performed and how he managed the audience. And he was just so much to learn from. He was amazing at what he did. Tito, can I have a tissue?
Not Tito.
Wow.
I'll save this for when I have to pee.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
We sound crazy.
When we were recording Quincy's Back on the Block album, like I said, I co-wrote like 8 songs. So I would be in the studio a lot when he was recording. And I recorded some music one day and then left. And then the next day, usually Quincy calls me and says, "Come on down to the studio. We're recording so-and-so tomorrow. We're recording Miles. We're recording Dizzy Gillespie. We're recording and on your song. So come on down." So I went the day before when we recorded some, and I don't remember what it was. But the next day, he was in the studio with Miles Davis. And the day after that, he called me to do some recording. He said, "Where were you yesterday, Sid? Miles was here." I said, "You didn't call me and tell me to come to the studios. I'm not going to just show up."
Right.
He said, "Oh, all right. Well, let me tell you, Miles was in the studio playing horn on One Man Woman." That was the song. He said at one point, Miles stopped. He put his horn down and he said, "Q, who that's singing?" Quincy said, "Man, that's Siedah." And Miles said, "That's Siedah. Damn, I love that bitch."
What in the world?
Nobody calls me a bitch but Miles Davis.
Yo.
Oh, that was so good.
Oh, man,
that was
wait.
so good.
Wait a minute. That's a quotable right there.
Absolutely.
That is a quotable.
Nobody calls me
Be a bitch.
But Miles Davis.
That's yeah.
Listen, I feel like we gotta. Every time you're in Nashville, you know you have a.
I will
a
be
place,
here. I will be
A
here.
spot on the couch, because I know we've still just scratched the surface, but we're so grateful that you took some time on your first Nashville trip to come
Thank
hang
you.
with us here. We sound
I
crazy.
think I'm gonna stay.
You can just make yourself at home. Make yourself at home on the yellow couch. There's icons sitting on the couch right now. But we also just really want to thank you for your transparency and openness, because you know this is I see that you live it. It's,
I love it.
Yeah, you love it as well.
I love it.
We will come back, right?
Absolutely.
I'm just making
Drop
sure.
a hat.
Drop a
Somebody
hat.
Drop.
We gave you the Songwriter Hall of Fame award.
Man.
You're in the halls of fame.
I
here.
will treasure it forever.
Seriously.
Make sure you follow us on all platforms at We Sound Crazy and WeSoundCrazy.com.
And a special shout out to our partners at Visit Music City. Thank you so much for holding us down.
And shout out to all the people that you don't see who are behind cameras, behind the boards, all this that make this look and sound.
Giving us toilet paper and
Giving us
shit.
toilet paper and shit that make us sound and look good most of the time.
Shout out to Tiff, Aaron, Mike Guru Johnson.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
The whole team. When we end every episode, we ask our special guests to give us our going out song. It could be anything that you think just summarizes the conversation or your mood.
Oh. Don't look any further.
I mean, just don't look any further than the truth.
Hey, do you know what Deo, Umbadeo, Nambajiayo? You know what?
No.
No.
Those are the names of cities in Africa.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. That's what Dennis Lambert and Franny Goldie told me.
That's how intentional that song is.
Yes.
Crazy.
Wow.
What?
Najambe Umbayo. I never looked up the cities, but I gotta
Never
believe
been
what
there,
they
but
say. Yeah.
Again, today years old.
Today years old. Amazing conversation. Thank you, Siedah Garrett. Thank you so much. Congratulations
Thank
again.
you. Because y'all sound crazy.
Until next week, y'all. We sound crazy. We out of here.